Folks, you know 2024, we always have the heavy hitters. And this episode is going to be amazing. When I first met the good doctor, it was at some random late night after hour, but it was a good time. It was upscale. I was too rich for my blood, but I was hanging out with them though. But we had a good time, and we had a great conversation, and I'm so excited to have her on the show. And she's a dean at Hopkins, doing amazing things. And so I can't wait for you to hear her and hear her story. We'll be right back after these messages.
We made a pledge to do what's best for the health of our communities, and we continue to deliver on it every day for every one of our members. With access to a network of over 1 million providers, rewards for living healthy, and more care options than ever, we are Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield, and we are changing healthcare for all that we serve. At Care First, it's not just our name, it's our promise.
Welcome to the NoPixAfterDark podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Dante. I told y'all, folks, it's 2024. We got the heavy hitters. What's the season called Last Call? We making sure we get everybody who's everybody and the people who are making changes out here. And you know what? This person I met, again, at the after hours, and we had a great conversation. I was like, I got to have you on the show. And she kept me. She was like, Aaron, you got to have me on the show. And I said, okay, we're going to make it happen. Got Dr. Danielle. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Should I say the whole last name? Do you want me to say the whole last name? I don't know, because
I mean, you can call me Dr. McCamey, you can call me Dr. D, you can call me Danielle, whatever feels good to you.
Because, you worked hard for those initials.
Hey, you know.
All right. So how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Hey, I'm happy to come on my podcast.
Yes, happy to finally be here.
I'm happy. But how's things? How's the new year? How's it going for you?
New year's starting off pretty strong. I'm just fresh off the boat from Puerto Rico. Nice tropical vacation, so feeling rejuvenated, energized, and ready to rock for 2024.
No wonder I saw that glow when you walked in.
Yeah,
I'm sitting here raggedy and cold. But you over here glistening, and I was like, damn.
Yeah.
What she was, Tay Diggs out in the Bahamas?
Something like
that. We ain't gonna talk about that. But thank you so much for hanging out. You're doing some amazing things at Hopkins. Tell us a little bit about what you got going on right now at Hopkins.
I got a lot of things popping. So right now I'm the assistant dean for strategic partnerships, and in my role I'm looking for collaborations with community partners, government partners, industry folks that are interested in helping us advance our mission. We got a lot of stuff going on at the School of Nursing, really trying to get more community focused, more involved in policy and politics, because that's where the decisions are made. So we've got a couple initiatives with doing School of Health, so partnering with Department of Health, getting inside the Baltimore City schools and putting in nursing care there and making that essentially an epicenter of health. So the families get on-the-spot care if they need it, and also the attention for the students and all that kind of thing. So lots of things popping, and just also really exposing our students to understanding that care is in the community and with the people. So getting really outside the school walls.
It's interesting because I had somebody that I interviewed a couple weeks ago. We talked about healthcare and fitness and wellness, and how certain communities in Baltimore don't have that.
Yeah.
And they don't have anything that resembles that, and that's a big fight. So I love that. We'll definitely dig into that and talk a little bit more about that. So where are you from? I always ask everybody where you from, because we gotta get a little background about who you are.
Yeah, so I am actually new to Baltimore. I've been here almost a year and a half now. The gig at Hopkins got me out of my suburban living in Alexandria, Virginia, where I was born and raised.
A-town.
Yes. And so Baltimore's been an amazing, amazing place. Love the people, love the culture, definitely different vibes from Alexandria. But I grew up in a single parent family household. Shout out to the single mothers out there. My mom is my major inspiration and has been the example for my journey in pursuing healthcare.
Okay, so growing up, was your mom in healthcare also? Was she a doctor also? Is that really what, like you said, inspired you?
Yeah.
You saw what was she doing in healthcare?
She wasn't a physician. She did home care nursing.
Oh.
And so because she was a single parent, she toted me along with her.
Oh, wow.
So I got the opportunity to watch her take care of people in their home spaces. And I was just so inspired that she can just literally roll up in someone's home and just make them feel better by the end of the day. And I was like, I want to do what you do, mommy. And so she was like, yes, do what I'm doing, but go past me. So she always encouraged me, get that education, get that certification, go on that, missions trip, or collaborate with those people, or like really, really expand your horizons in healthcare. And I wanted to be a physician at first. And then I saw like the long road to get to being a physician, and then really circle back around to really explore nursing. And so that's when I made the decision to go ahead and apply for nursing, and got in. And now I am a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner, and I specialize in critical care.
Oh, man. So you can do a lot of things.
A lot of things.
You can do a lot of things. All right.
That's the beauty of nursing.
It is.
It's a profession has tons of versatility. I mean, you can go from the bedside, the boardroom, to your own, clinical practice. And that's what I love about being in the nursing profession.
It's funny. I shouldn't say my hip up. I'm going to blow my hip up here, but I go to a nurse practitioner. That's who I go to now. I don't even go to a doctor. I mean, but they're still a doctor, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, of course.
I go to her, and she's awesome. And she's like, your blood pressure, what's going on? I said, come on, man. And
we're going to call you out. We're going to love on you, but we're going to be like, all right, you need to get it together.
But it's real. It's the first time I got on blood pressure medicine. First time. And I'm like 43 now. And I'm like, damn, I guess. So it's actually helped the way I eat now. Good. I changed my diet. Good. You know what I mean? Trying to get slender for this 2024 summer. Trying to be there.
I know,
but she's always like, are you walking? I'm like, you already took my blood. You already know what's going on.
Right,
I ain't gonna say and lie to you.
You can't.
You can't. But that's really cool that you inspired to do that. What did you do undergrad? Where'd you go? Where'd you go?
Yeah.
Where'd you mix up? Did you stay in the VA? Did you go out? You said a little about mission work. Talk a little bit about that.
So I actually stayed in VA because I'm a mama's girl. So I ended up getting a scholarship to University of Virginia School of Nursing. Okay. But the crazy thing about that, a little bit more into my story, was that I was told that because I was a product of a single parent family household, Black, and my mom didn't make over 40K, and I didn't get over 1,000 SAT scores, that I would never make it to any college. So it was my guidance counselor, and she was like, I see that you're working at McDonald's, so you may as well just go ahead and just kind of pursue your McDonald's route. I think that would be the best bet for you because you won't be able to get in. And so, it was crazy, right? But I mean, that's one of many stories, as we know. And I ended up getting into over 20 schools because I got lots of great advice from my track coach at the time that told me, like, you can utilize that circumstance for your benefit because you have quote unquote low socioeconomic status. You can get all your fees waived for your applications. You can get tons of grants and scholarships. And I didn't know because I was the first in my family to go to college. So when he lit that fire, I went on a rampage. I was like, I'm applying here, got into all 20 schools, took this acceptance letters to the guidance counselor's office and dropped them off her desk.
Oh, you were being petty. You were straight petty.
These belong to you, ma'am. And she clutched her pearls and she was like, well, my word, I guess I stand corrected. Yeah.
You know what's interesting about guidance counselors? They really don't know.
Okay.
Like, they get paid to do nothing. They just tell you something. They're not to knock the weather people. They like the weather people. They don't know. They don't know what the weather's going on. They don't know. Yeah. They can tell you what possibly, but how connected are you really into it? And you don't know the person's drive.
Exactly.
And luckily, from what I know now, I don't even think they even check SATs scores anymore.
Yeah, no.
I don't even think they do that anymore because it was so subjective. And I can tell you right now, I'm not a great test taker.
Me neither.
I am not. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I can tell you how I get from A to Z. I can show you how to get there. But tests, I freeze up. That's just me.
Right.
And I have no shame about it. That's just what it is. And I always are subjected to jobs where like, oh, you got to take this test. I'm like, well, guess what? I'm good then.
Well, all that was by design, though. A lot of the test-taking strategies and the structures of tests were for exclusionary practices, to exclude us, communities of color, to have access. So that's why they started putting in these standardized tests because you eliminate that, you create some level of equity. And so that's by design.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk offline about a little bit more. I learned in college about this test taking. So you UVA.
Yeah, so UVA for my undergraduate
Charlottesville?
degree.
You in Charlotte? Okay.
Yeah, Charlottesville. Okay. And then I went to get my master's, which is where I got my nurse practitioner certification at Georgetown. And then I ended up going back to get my doctorate in nursing practice at Georgetown.
I feel like, we had this conversation because you said Georgetown.
Yeah.
And you know where I went to school. Syracuse. So you already know. You already know how I feel about. So that's why I think we had this conversation. Because I'm like, we had this conversation. Because that's why I was like, when you said Georgetown, I'm like, oh Lord, here we go. But it's a great school.
Yes.
My dad used to work there a long time ago. I actually wanted to go to Georgetown when I lived in the Baltimore area.
Okay.
And then when we moved all around, and then we ended up moving to New York. And I was like, Syracuse. I'm like, oh, I kind of like this. And I'm like, well, I guess I'll go here.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. That's a really, I really like what you just said, how you broke it down of how this person told you couldn't make it. You couldn't do it. And they think McDonald's is good for you.
So much.
So step by step unpack on that. That's a whole different episode.
Yeah.
Because we're going to do that. That's a whole different episode we can talk about. Because I could really get into some stuff about what I've heard and what I've been told.
Oh, I'm sure.
But just your perseverance of getting through that, what pushed you, what lit that fire in you to say, I'm going to make it? What was that thing? What was that thing? Everybody has that thing.
Right. I mean, just growing up in a single parent family household alone, to see my mom take on essentially double roles because it was me and my sister, to she grinded and we never wanted for nothing. So she created an environment where, despite the circumstances, we always had food, clothes. She made life fun. I didn't realize making $1 out of 15 cents wasn't a game, but it was our reality. But she really expanded our horizons and our thought process that there's more than one way to skin a cat. All the cliches, that there's always, where there's a will, there's always a way. And so that was just ingrained in me just by the way I grew up. And so I don't deny or am ever ashamed of those experiences, because I'm like, man, when the pandemic hit, I was like, well, I know how to make $1.15. I know how to make gourmet meals out of this, that, and the third, because I had to.
Right.
So I had that experience. But having that grit and that foundation of perseverance, just seeing my mom and how she got it, I was like, man, I'm destined for greatness. There's nothing, I can't be stopped.
I love that. I love hearing that. So you went to grad school, and then also you went for your nursing at Georgetown and whatnot, which is a really hard school for that. Actually, it's really hard from what I know.
Yep.
Where did you want to go next? What was the next move? Did you go on a mission? Did you go anywhere overseas? Did you anything any hospitals or somewhere different where you had to get a different perspective?
Yeah. So I focused a lot of my volunteer work with rural communities. So I got involved in a lot of community healthcare groups, which people underestimate how folks that are in rural communities, they really need care.
They do.
So being out in West Virginia, Southwest Virginia, that kind of things, people out in the mountains. So I did a lot of clinics with particular groups that focus on that community, that population of people. And then I focused my nursing career in critical care. I love the adrenaline rush. I love, bringing people back to life and experiencing that spectrum of bringing them back to life, but also ushering them to the next transitioning to death. So having that spectrum is very exciting for me. And that's where I did most of my career.
Because I've never asked somebody this, how do you emotionally get there?
Oof.
You know what I mean? How do you
Yeah.
how do you emotionally get to that point? Because for me, I don't know if I could do that. But then now I don't go to funerals anymore though. So I think I'm numb to that part of going to funerals. I've been to so many where I'm I don't want to go to them.
Yeah.
Unless I need to. How do you get over seeing death and dealing, then maybe you have to talk to the family. Do they train? I mean, they can train you all they want in school, but there's nothing for the real deal.
Correct.
How do you do that?
It takes a special personality. A lot of it is understanding that that's just the spectrum of life. And so we're taught that as a foundational piece. But then as you go through experiences and just life, you learn how to compartmentalize, which is a gift and a curse.
Right.
And unfortunately, being in healthcare, you don't get that much of an opportunity to when you compartmentalize, you don't get that opportunity to debrief. So then it perpetuates burnout and stress. And those that are in the critical care specialty, we have a high turnover, high burnout, because we're expected to perform, at these stressful literally life and death decision-making experiences. And so our lifespan in those type of careers is not very long, but I've managed to be in it for 20 years. But this past year transitioned from the critical care brain to academia. So focusing more on the upstream of teaching the students, so they'll be the future nurses in practice. So you have to compartmentalize.
Did you, speaking of, let's not, people don't say, did you almost burn out during the pandemic?
Oh, I definitely burned out. Because I worked in a hospital in DC, and we were designated the COVID, like the primary COVID hospital for the DC area.
Right.
And this particular health system has 9 other hospitals. So the other hospitals would bring the most critically ill ones to the mothership, which is where I was. Wow. And so we ended up, I think we have over 900 beds. Most of those beds were to COVID patients that were critically ill. And the hardest part of that was the revolving door of death. It was nothing that we could do. And the hardest part was delivering the news to the family members and us making that commitment that they wouldn't die alone. So we would literally all take turns sitting with patients as they passed, because
the family members couldn't go in the hospital. So you had to call these people, tell them wow, that's tough.
Yeah, so that was definitely one of the straws that broke the camel's back for me in critical care. Was just like, man, we thought we didn't have enough time to compartmentalize and kind of debrief. We had no time, because it was like, as soon as that patient passed away, we had to clean it up because we had someone else that needed that bed.
Wow. Okay, so folks, hold that moment, hold that. And we'll be back, because we're talking about what she has going on. Because, she has so many great things going on. Organizations that she belongs to it's really empowering people of color, and I really want to talk a little bit about that. Talk about academia, how it's changed totally night and day from what you do now. And do you ever have that itch to go back into get back in the rat race? We'll talk about that right back into the messages.
You give to United Way, your gift could be the first spark of something bigger. It can help someone find, interview for, and get hired for a job, and provide follow-up services for success. It can break down educational barriers and give that extra help to a struggling student with in-school support programs. Give today. Spark something bigger.
Are you or someone you love in need of mental health support? For All Seasons is now offering same-day therapy appointments with no wait list. Through the For All Seasons Open Access program, you can walk in for mental health services and begin therapy in the same visit. For All Seasons accepts all insurances and provides financial assistance if you need it. For therapy, psychiatry, or victim support, we have appointments available today. Call For All Seasons 410-822-1018.
And folks, we are back, and we just had this great conversation, and I'm so excited to have you on. Finally, I'm gonna call you Dr. D, or Dr. You Dr. D. They want to call it, But thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate your time, because I know you're busy. Like I said, we just talked about how you get the glow from Puerto Rico in here, so you flew right on our private jet that got back here
pretty much
for the episode, but. Let's talk a little bit more, because you really, really impactful what you were saying, and really hit home with me what you were talking about just perseverance and how you gotten through. You kept on pushing, and you're like, I want to be the best I can be. My mom was my role model growing up. We never wanted for anything. I never wanted for anything. Talk about survival mode. You knew when COVID came around, I could make anything out, gourmet meals. I can do that. Now we fast forward. Where are you? Why Baltimore? Why are you here?
Well, I told you the Hopkins gig got me out here.
But you left Alexandria.
Yeah,
that is night and day. That is night and day. Let's be real.
Let's be real.
That's night and day.
Yeah.
I just think Hopkins is one of the best places be.
Definitely.
And for resume building, things of that nature,
Absolutely.
you got to be there.
Definitely.
When the option came to Baltimore, was it a no-brainer, or did you have to think about it for a little bit?
I had a couple of options on the table.
Okay.
That I was evaluating. I just felt like because of the Hopkins brand, the impact, it would not only benefit me personally, professionally, but also my nonprofit, DNPs of Color, which is where my passion is.
We'll talk about that. Let's talk about it. You brought it up.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
You were the founder of this.
Yes, I'm the founder, CEO, and president of DNPs of Color. And
I felt like I was listening to like a Puffy or Biggie line right there.
Oh, Lord.
No,
we going to leave Puffy out.
I'm the prayer president. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I got to let you know, the statuses out here. But
how did this come about? Where did this come from?
Yeah.
Let's walk us through it.
It's another story that's like baked in like trauma, I guess.
But we need that. But like, I think people hearing these stories can be like, damn, this really happening? People still living that, world, like they don't think things happen like this. So go ahead. It's your show.
Right. Yeah. Ooh, I like that. So DNPs of Color came from my experience going to Georgetown, which we all know is a predominantly white institution. I was the only Black woman in my cohort, in my doctoral cohort. So I'm looking around like, okay, so we got another round of being the only one. All right, how is this going to play out? And I was the first in my family to go back to get my doctorate. So it was just a different energy that came with it. And as I progressed, I felt like I wasn't getting the same opportunities as my other cohort mates, or I felt like I didn't connect or I didn't belong. So I was looking to engage with folks to try to connect, like how they were connecting, and try to align myself to get the opportunities that I saw that they were getting, but it didn't quite work out well. So I started looking outside of Georgetown and couldn't find anything that I was looking for that met my needs, being a woman of color pursuing a doctorate in nursing practice. So I created a Facebook group called DNPs of Color, and it's grown exponentially into this now international nonprofit that's focused on creating a community that builds opportunity for nurses of color that are in pursuit or already have their doctorate in nursing practice. And so it's my passion, because hearing the stories of our experiences brings us stronger together as a community. And when you have your doctorate in nursing, it puts you at the seats of the tables where the decisions are being made. The structure of nursing is, when you have your doctorate, it affords you access to different people, resources, money, clout, status, and it gives you a voice on, you know what, that ain't it. You know what, this is how we're going to move. So, and there's no other nursing organization that's focused on this growing body of nurses of color that are getting their doctorates. And so for me, I feel like we're the secret sauce to diversifying the nursing profession. And that's important because when you have more diversity in nursing anywhere, really, it adds tremendous value to the care and the patient outcomes. So when you start seeing more people that look like the communities that we're serving, where those communities are more likely to fall in line with what the care is needed. They trust their providers because they look like them, they speak like them, they come from lived experiences. Like, oh, you grew up in a single parent family? Me too. Oh, you from around the way? Oh, okay, cool. Like, so you can speak that language that really resonates with them, to trust you that what you're saying is the gospel, and they'll be more likely to follow through. Wow. So we are literally saving people's lives just by being sometimes just in the room.
I love hearing that, because I know, and I've heard about how many I know you probably know the better numbers than I do about how many Black women passed away during childbirth. I had a friend that was very sick, and because he had a high pain tolerance, the doctor was like, oh, you're fine, and it's just, if maybe there was somebody that looked like her in that room, saying, hey, maybe we need to check into a little bit further, and come to find out, she was literally sick from, and this is gonna be wild, and you probably won't surprise you, she was sick from May of last year all the way, they didn't find her diagnosis until late July or early August. And it was right in front of their face, but they didn't. They in the notes, when you go, doctor, oh, she's fine, and she had to go to a different doctor to get to what the care she needs for being a Black woman, and that's just upsetting to hear, and it's hard to find. So I love that you have that set in place for people out there who are going to be what you got going on. So I like to thank you so much for. There's a need for that, and you saw that. Where was that? I mean, that's drive to start a foundation.
Absolutely.
How'd you learn how to start a foundation? Like, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot, you know? Like, you have a board.
Yeah.
You got bylaws, all these things. It's a lot. How'd you learn that? Just curious.
It just, a lot of this stuff just came intuitively, just being a part of different groups, just kind of seeing how groups work, the bylaws, understanding kind of like the logistics with that. But when it came time to doing my own thing, I had a lot of like, I didn't really have much confidence in myself. So I ended up, I consulted with a nonprofit consultant. And so I was like, I don't know if I got everything right. Like, this is what I have. And so she's like, child, you done created the mission, the motto, the goals, the logo, the colors, the meaning behind it, the bylaws. She's like, you don't need me. You just got to launch. And I was like, for real? So it just came to me intuitively, and just also understanding the specific needs that I felt, and that resonated through so many others, that it just grew like wildfire to now we have a private community of over 2,000 people from Canada, Haiti, United States, that have found a group that validates their existence. Because what happens with communities of color, people try to box us in, or if we don't ascribe to a certain degree of what they consider professional, we are looked at like we don't know what we're doing, or we're not an expert in our field. So if I roll in with my braids, they automatically box me in like, oh, she got braids, she don't know what she talk about. Or oh, most times I rock a fro. So
Angela
the fro,
Davis.
yes,
Angela
Davis the fro.
Oh yeah.
You know, so you get boxed into that, but people don't understand like the depth and breadth of knowledge that we have as a community. And because of our lived experience of constantly being questioned and challenged, y'all groom us to be the best.
Facts.
And so we just recently hosted our 3rd annual conference here in Washington, D.C. Our conference before that was in Baltimore. But anyways, we had over 300 people there that were so inspired by other Black and brown scholars that had their doctorates, that were experts in their fields, and that they had never gone to a conference like that before, that they didn't have to have a form or fashion. They just showed up, and it was like having church. Like folks would be like, yes, somebody would be clapping like, I know that's right. And so it was just such a comfortable space, but no one looked at you because of your fro, your braids, or your color, your skin. We looked at you because of the value that you brought, the expertise that you were able to bring, and the things we were able to learn, and the connections we were able to make. I mean, we had lawyers, we had deans, directors, editors, CEOs, chief nurse officers. I was like, man, just the philanthropists, the power within this community, and with us coming together, seeing each other like, I see you. It's like, all right, well, let's just start dropping some money on foundations. Let's start dropping money for scholarships, programs that we need to really develop this group of professionals, because in nursing, there's no other organization that's focused on the development and the support for this particular group of nursing professionals.
So how many people are in the group right now that are active right now, members? Or
so right now we started organically, grassroots. So in our Facebook, we have a private group. It's about 2,000 people. So now we've transitioned to a traditional association, which now we ask for folks to drop some coins. So we just opened up this past October, and we're about 300 members, paid members, with the goal of having 1,000 by Juneteenth. So we're going to convert, our goal is to convert the 2,000 folks that are in the community for free to like really investing, because when you invest, it brings in that capital. And with that capital, we can come in with the scholarships. We can come in with the professional development things, creating certifications, any type of educational offerings that they need to either upskill or reinforce their skills, so that when they're at the boardroom, they're already equipped with the knowledge, the language, the acumen, whether it be for business purposes or politics purposes, that we're prepared. So there's no question.
I love hearing this. It's like, I'm really like, I'm over here like, damn, I'm about to take notes, and like, but that's so inspiring what you're doing right now. And I mean, nothing but love, and whatever we can amplify on NoPixAfterDark, we will help you amplify it. So please let us know what we can do to amplify your message and really just put it out there, because I'm sure there's somebody listening, watching, that may be in medical school. I had who did I have? I had the doctor from, they're going to do a medical school at Morgan State, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And
I saw that episode.
the dean, he was from Michigan. And he was here, and we were talking about what he's trying to do and what he's trying to do with the community. And I think that's so important that you have somebody who knows it and somebody who looks like you. We always talk about representation matters. Absolutely. It matters so much. When I tell people my second year doing the podcasting, they had my black face on Baltimore Sun. And, I cried because I was like, I remember the guy, this is how messed up people are. I go to 7-Eleven and the guy's like, I'm like, I need some paper, need papers. The guy was like, why are you buying some papers? Did you get arrested or something like that in it?
Wow.
And it was just so racist and ignorant. And I looked at him like, you ain't gonna fuck my shine up. Like,
I know that's right.
But I was like, nah, bro, like I won an award. And I remember people seeing that picture, how powerful that picture was. And people always say, well, you won Baltimore Sun, you won Baltimore Magazine. Which one's more important? And I said, Baltimore Sun. And the reason why is because it's a newspaper. You can still touch it.
Yes.
You can still grab it. You can still feel it. And just to pick it up and knowing that, a little background about me, my family's from here. And my uncle and aunts all used to read the newspaper every day. They didn't read the Baltimore Magazine. They read Baltimore Sun. And just them knowing that your nephew was in the paper, that's pretty dope.
Hits different.
So just seeing that. And now I try to inspire other podcasters. Like, hey, it's coming up. Get your podcast nominated in there. Get yours. Well, Aaron, you always want to say, Aaron, I'm not even trying to be in it this year. I told people I don't want nothing to do with it because I want other people to see their shine.
Absolutely.
And be out there. So kudos for you to getting that shine and getting people out there because if representation matters and seeing what you're doing, we need that out here.
Absolutely.
We need that. And 300 strong, next year you're going to have probably 700 coming to the conference.
Oh, no. Next year, we're probably going to have about 700. You're right.
And what's important with Juneteenth? Why is that date so important for you?
Well, it's
I know the date, but like,
it's just giving people just milestones. So like right now with our membership drive, we're doing the 500 by MLK Day, and then 1,000 by Juneteenth. It's just giving members a milestone to look forward to. Like, look, all right, MLK, we celebrating with 500 or what?
Right.
Juneteenth, we celebrating with 1,000 or what?
Right.
So it's just having that just significance, and then just also the cultural significance as well.
Have you navigated the sponsorship space of has any hospitals or any corporations say, hey, we would love to help out? Have you? Oh
yeah, definitely. We'll always take more.
Okay.
We've connected with a lot of the local universities, which is kind of the space that we love to connect with the universities because that's kind of like a pipeline, right? So Johnson & Johnson, Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, Kaiser Permanente, a couple of other local health systems have definitely signed on to support us. So we're really excited about that.
I love hearing that. Kaiser Permanente is really cool. They do some great work out
absolutely.
there. They do some great work. So, and we'll talk offline about that.
Okay.
But but I'm happy that you are actually getting that groove. How do you juggle all this? That's the $1 million question because people ask me like, well, how do I do it? I know how I do it because I just don't stop and I don't think. Yeah. I think, but I don't want to sit down and be like, oh, what am I doing?
Right.
How do you do this? How do you juggle all this?
It's a $1 million question I get asked a lot. And my response is always like, when you have been called or when you have a purpose on your life, things align. Now, when I think back to like even last year to this year, as you start walking deeper into your passion and your purpose, things start clearing up in terms of where you divide or your energies. So, and you become clear on that. So I'm like, if it's not dealing with, diversifying nursing, like utilizing DNPs of color, if it's not about advancing the nursing profession, or if it's not about, other hobbies that I partake in, you just don't align yourself with that. So really figuring out what your mission is, what your passions are, and aligning your activities and your time with that. And it always works out.
I love it. That's your energy. That's what
your energy.
I think you're like, and I told people are like, what are you doing in 2024? I'm aligning my energy where it needs to be.
That part.
I'm not going to every event.
That part.
I'm not going to see, you're not going to see me here.
Yes.
My energy is only reserved where it needs to be.
Absolutely.
And like, because I don't know if you remember the paper, the hardest working pod. Yeah, that's cool. But that told me I need to slow down.
Thank you.
It was a good thing, but it was a bad thing. And shout out to Ball and B, I love y'all. But it had me reflect like, whoa. It looks like I'm hustling like too hard.
Yeah.
Let me slow down and really enjoy these moments that I have.
Absolutely.
And are you doing that for yourself though?
Absolutely. And I was just talking to some friends about, they're like, what's your New Year's resolution? Da, da, da. I gave resolutions a long time ago.
Yeah,
so for me, it's about energy. So I said, if things aren't aligning with the energy that's bringing me peace, ease, and joy, I'm not doing it. So that's just kind of like my vibe for 2024. Peace, ease, and joy. So finding what activities align with that.
And that's how you got to be. That's how you got to be.
Yeah.
What do you want people to walk away from this interview from after they listen to it? What do you hope they walk away with? Because I have some thoughts, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think whenever I get an opportunity to speak and share my stories, always don't let any circumstances, whether it be people or things, define or box you in. I was speaking to another CEO when I was in Puerto Rico, and he was like, he does this thing with his kids. He lines them all. He's like, grab a box, find a box around the house. Let's get a box. And they're like, okay. So he said he took them outside and he gave them all a match. And he was like, this is a box that society is going to always try to put you in. I don't want you all to ever be in anybody's box. You live outside the box. So he told them to light it up. And was like, don't ever get boxed in by anybody, what they say, or groups, or whatever. No job, no nothing. So it would be leaving the audience with, don't be boxed in. Don't let your circumstances define you or box you in. And because there's always more than one way. My mom would say, more than one way to skin a cat. And also, I always like to leave people with really exploring your passions and aligning that with your mission in life. And truly think about the legacy that you're living and that you will leave. Because we're all here to be of service. It doesn't necessarily have to be like, I'm going to be, the president of the United States or whatever. Find your particular place and space and passion and operate in that, and your impact will ripple beyond your lifetime.
You about to take us to church right now. You about to take us to church. All right. So I'm not going to let you off the hook too easy here, okay?
Okay.
We do a speed round on the show.
Let's go, baby.
And, we got to make sure
we stay ready.
Got to stay ready. We got to stay ready. So since you are, here now.
Yes.
All right. Mumbo sauce or hot sauce?
Mumbo sauce.
Okay. I got to add go-go or Baltimore club music.
Go-go.
Okay. Who's your favorite go-go artist? There you go.
Rare Essence.
Okay.
Old school.
Okay. I know about Rare Essence. All right. See, I know a little bit. I used to party down into the waterfront back in the day when it was love and that stuff down. We ain't gonna talk about those days.
Hey,
those days.
I have a special affinity to go-go because my mom used to manage a go-go band.
Your mom do
She's
everything.
A beast.
She hustles, boy.
But see, her thing was looking at troubled youth and literally bringing them off the street and was like, let me teach you how to bang on this cowbell. So she created a whole group called Positive Groove from just kids that she saw was out in the streets.
I love it.
So I love go-go.
I love it. Crab cakes or crabs? Yeah, that's a tough one.
If I had my VA hat, it would be crabs, but I'm gonna go with crabs.
You go with crabs?
Yeah.
See, the reason why I like crabs is I do like picking. I like the work.
Yeah.
But the key thing is, how everybody goes out nowadays.
Yes.
And everybody's on their phone. You ain't picking no phone up with no damn Old Bay sauce. Yeah, because your phone gonna be messed up, and then when you put it to your face, it's gonna burn.
And it's gonna smell like crab.
Right. So I like
for the social experience.
I love the conversation.
Absolutely.
And that's what we need to bring back. I really feel like the conversation of people going out and have a good time.
Yes.
So you got your ice cream or snowballs. See, it's a Baltimore thing, the snowballs.
I know, the snowballs. And I live next to Ice Queen. So
Ice Queen, yes.
I've converted to snowballs.
Oh, okay. What's your flavor? What flavor do you like? Which one do you like?
I just like to keep it simple, just like a tropical flavors.
Okay, see, I'm a banana flavor. I like banana.
I'm allergic to banana, so I can't really rock with banana.
Okay. All right. It's not for everybody.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's all right, though. Chicken wings. Do you eat meat?
I do eat meat.
I gotta make sure because there's some people people don't eat.
I'm transitioning away from it, but I can't give up chicken.
Okay, it's all good. Chicken wings. Do you honey Old Bay or regular just hot wings?
The Old Bay. I've converted to the Old Bay.
Look at you. You really converted.
Slowly.
They really converted you. They really converted. And the last question: blue cheese or ranch?
Ranch.
I ain't gonna say anymore.
I know.
That's all right. We forgive you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for hanging out. Where can we find on the website? Where can we find the organization? Find you?
Yes.
Where can we email, reach out? Let's let the people know.
Yes, y'all can find me on all social media platforms at Dr. McCamey. And then the organization DNPs of Color at DNPs of Color on DNPsofcolor.org. You can hit us up by email, info@DNPsofcolor.org. But always live on social media, so you feel free to slide in our DMs.
All right, folks, you heard it here first. Thank you so much. Folks, love, peace, we're out.